You are about to see mutilated corpses, burning tank carcasses, and all out mayhem, brought to you by Frontline Fatalities.
Welcome back, COH fans, to episode 91 of Frontline Fatalities, Season 2, brought to you by the Frontline Network, presented by me, FatalSaint, and my good friend Tommy. What's up, Tommy? Welcome back as well.
What's up, Fatal? Yeah, it's been a little while. It's been something like a month, I think, since we put out our last shoutcast. Yeah, we've had a little hiatus. We went for a Christmas break. We gorged on our Christmas turkeys, and we very much enjoyed seeing in the new year, I believe. But we are back with a Vico cast today between two players, both of which you will have heard of, although you may not be familiar with the names that they're going by in this particular game. We have playing on the Allied side, we have Mr. Commentator Noggan, and who do we have taking on the Axis?
The Axis side will be played by All-Stars Lion, which is Symbiosis, back in Vico. This game was played in January, or at least the replay was posted in January, on the most recent retail patch, which is basically what the beta was in December, I think, and then they rolled it out into the retail version as well. So
yeah, I believe that actually happened while we were on hiatus, didn't it? Now that there's no more sort of difference between the beta and the retail game of Company of Heroes, there is just the main game, and I think they are still patching it. I think they do still have plans to release at least one other patch, because there are a couple of instability issues that haven't been quite wrapped up yet, but I'm pretty sure those are on the cards to be fixed in the near future, which is just as well, because we have a tournament planned to come along in the next couple of weeks. It's actually going to be a tournament for Elite Mod, which is a mod that we mentioned previously. Last couple of casts we've mentioned it, been hyping it up a little bit. Well, now we're actually into the tournament phase of it, and by the time that you're seeing this, the sign-ups will still be open. They'll be over on Kotu.org. You can find them there, along with all the information about the tournament. It's going to be on the 1st and 2nd of February, the first weekend of February. And, well, it's going to be a 1v1 tournament. It's going to be very standard in most ways, except for the fact it is, of course, using Elite Mod. So you can head over there and see more about it. We talked a little bit about it in previous casts as well, so I won't labor the point too much. But
we'll drop a link down in the description, so you can go check it out for yourselves, and go sign up and have some fun playing Elite Mod.
Indeed. Well, for today, we ought to get started into looking at Symbiosis taking on Noggan.
Yep, at the 5-second mark, ready to go. Unpause in 3, 2, 1, unpause. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And we do have standard tourney positions with the Wehrmacht in the south and the US in the north. It's going to be interesting to see, especially straight off the bat, Symbiosis putting his quarters on the right instead of the left. What do you think about that?
You know, it
just going to focus on that right-hand side
where you want to go, really, doesn't it? Yeah.
I
mean, the left tends to be the safer option, because if you go left, you're still close to the right hand side, you're just also close to the left. If you put it on the right hand side, you're really close to the right, but you're really quite distant from the left, and until you put your tier 2 up, you're not going to have any kind of close reinforcement if you start getting harassed over there on the left hand side. So it's a pretty nuanced point, really, and in real terms the difference isn't huge. But it can make that bit of difference if you're not able to, reinforce your Volks at the same time as fighting, if, for example, you're having the strategic point cut on the left-hand side. So it's always something worth bearing in mind. But it looks like Symbiosis...
It does really feel like that the quarters is like miles away from left.
It is a really far away. But of course, the big advantage of putting it here is that you're very close to your right-hand side cutoff. So if you do ever lose that, you can, you see where Symbiosis MG is right now, you can almost reinforce from the same point at which you can lay down fire on your strategic point. So that's the benefit of going for the right.
Yeah, he does send his starting. So MG opening for Symbiosis. Nothing strange for Nogano to engineer into the first rifle, just saving up manpower and start queued up the second rifleman squad. So no fancy Jeep opening play for Nogano or anything like that. Just your standard rifle play from him, and MG bike opening for Symbiosis.
MG bike, okay. So going pretty aggressive. Are we going to be seeing that famous like 2-minute pin that he did against Siberian all those years ago? Became one of the most famous games of the last patch. But Nogano playing it safe, backs out. He knows where there is a bike, there is almost certainly going to be an MG, so he's not going to let himself get sucked in. Interesting though, normally you see when players go for this opening, players tend to, Vermont players tend to really camp this building here on the right hand side, and by not taking it, Symbiosis could be in for a bit of a pickle. He just catches that rifleman squad though.
Yeah, MG was set up in the right place there, overlooking that house entrance on the short side of the building. But yeah, there's engineers as well, and they might be able to slip into this building, and they could prove much more difficult to dislodge. He flips his MG when a second rifleman squad comes a little bit from the left, and the engineers is going behind here. There is the bike. It is down to 50% health roughly. Pyos are coming in now to help out as well. And the rifles does manage to actually get into that big house, forces off the MG, and the bike and the Pyos are forced to retreat as well. So good early engagement for Nogano there. It took a few rifle casualties. One guy on one of the squads and 2 guys on the other squad, but it did force the retreat of the MG. But third unit out for Symbiosis on the field right now, protecting his cutoff here. So he's going to be able to maintain that fuel income from the right-hand side fuel for a while until these pesky rifles are most likely looking to decap that fuel now.
Yeah, it's a far from ideal start there for Symbiosis. If you're going for that kind of opening, you really don't want to be retreating your MG anytime soon. But of course, the fact that it is longer means that going back to the base and coming back out again is a matter of just a few seconds. So
yeah, MG is already back at the cutoff.
Yeah, it's very, very fast reinforced, isn't it? So it's not going to affect him too much, but it is going to mean that he's not going to be getting that super fast pin anytime soon.
It's going to cost him that fuel on the right-hand side as well, most likely. It's going to be decat before the second MG out now from Symbiosis is going to be able to be set up and suppress these rifles. He does get the cutoff, so he's going to lose that fuel income. That's basically what happened in that major engagement in the beginning there with the primary MG was forced off due to the 2 rifles and the engineer squad coming in from behind. It basically is going to cost him territories now.
You see we have another MG out from Symbiosis. It's pointing at that fuel point, but the rifles are not going to give it anything to shoot at. They're actually backing away now. So as you see right now, this is actually a fairly typical sort of opening, is where the US tends to kind of dominate the first couple of minutes on Longer, which sort of it goes against what sort of most people think about Longer as being a really fair bias map, but it does. It's because of the way the fuels are, it's quite easy to harass lots of them at the same time as US, and the Veer just isn't going to be able to defend them all. But what you're probably going to find is over the next couple of minutes, once the whole tier 1 out gets out from the Veer, that's when things are going to get decidedly more painful.
Yeah, all Nogano needs to do right now is basically maintain map control, not let these Volks and Pyos and the bike push his guys around, force them off the field here or there, and start losing territories. He want to stay with the territories he has right now. He has both of the fuels right now, so his income is going to be very, very good. He did decide to spend most of his fuel, or basically only like half of his fuel, because he's had a pretty steady income. He's got a plus 43 fuel income right now to get bars on his rifles.
Bars are a good choice, I suppose. I mean, he's not facing an awful lot of Volks, though.
2 Volks, I think.
Yeah, 2 Volks standard, 2 Volks, 2 MGs. I don't know. I tend to find bars to be a bit of a suicide option on Longer, to be honest. Unless you're in a very dominating position, that is. But, whoa, look at this. MG42 sets up right in front of a Flamer. Oh. Wow,
he's going to be able to get away?
Wow. There.
That was a lucky engineer squad, actually. He did take a burst straight into the face, and he only lost 1 guy, because he was already down to 2 when he engaged that MG before it was setting up. And
yeah, normally when you hear stories about people getting shot in the face with MG42s, they don't tend to be a very happy ending.
No, it tends to be very brutal for the guy getting shot. But yeah, double flamers now on Nogano's engineers, both of them having flamers. He hasn't seen any mines. There's actually a mine that the rifleman squad is going to detonate right there at that very, very prime spot for a mine. And yeah, so maybe he will regret his choice of going double flamers. He's not going to be able to get a sweeper unless he gets an additional engineer squad now.
Unless, of course, you subscribe to Armstrong's philosophy, which is never get sweepers.
Never get sweepers.
Yeah, it's something you told me a long time ago, is that you never get sweepers for US on the fundamental idea that it's a waste of a flamer and you cannot afford to not have all the flamers you can muster as US. That's basically his thinking.
The flamers are very, very beastly on the engineers especially, I have to say. So maybe there's something there, but at the same time, if you're going for like a fast M8 build and you don't really have anything, you know, it's devastating to hit that mine, so you just gotta stay away from the places, I guess.
I think this was back when he was going bars in about 90-95% of his games. So none of his units were particularly high value. Like he could afford to have one of his squads hit a mine and it wouldn't really matter. It wasn't like he was going for a super fast sniper like he tended to do sort of later on in his career.
These rifles on the left really want to get this sniper.
Yeah, he's really going for it. Yeah, wow, no, Symbiosis, what are you doing? That was sloppy play there, really.
And he gets away, scot-free, you know, doesn't lose the rifle, doesn't lose the engineer, doesn't lose anything, and he gets this sniper, which is, I'm guessing, the last tier 1 unit Symbiosis will build, unless he's gonna go for something crazy, like a tier 1 to tier 3 or 4 maybe instantly, and just stick with tier 1.
Actually,
after he's seen bars, I guess it's plausible.
He does have tier 3 tech about to hit.
Tier 1, tier 3 maybe.
Now. So that's... Yeah, I mean, tier 1, tier 3, I mean, I don't think he's got the balls to do tier 1, tier 4. I don't even think it's a very good idea. But...
Well, people do it, or did it at least. You know, we've seen Aliaj do it in plenty of casts, honestly.
Oh, I've done it in tournament games on this particular map, but I would... I mean, it's a bit of a gimmick, and it assumes that you've gone for defensive, really, and you've got a med bunker up. You need the med bunker, and you need to be defensive, otherwise it doesn't really work.
Yeah, med bunker does complement that pretty good, as you're gonna get the mainline infantry to Grens from the bunker.
Yeah, exactly. And on this map, like, you're just gonna get like 2 or 3 Grens without even trying, so...
Yeah. There's some very good placements on this map, especially to hide the bunkers behind these hedges that like basically like cut the map in parts.
Oh, look at his mines! Oh, whoa! The rifles turned around just at the last second. I thought they were going to smack into it head on, but I think that turning around actually may have saved him.
Good. So Nogano keeps pushing and pushing. You know, the MGs are trying their best, but he's making good use of the heavy cover from the hay bales and stuff, so he can just install these MGs.
We got some really nice flanking action here from Nogano. I think whenever we've seen him, you know, we've passed a lot of his games, and one thing that always has to stand out is that he does have some really great flanking skills. Tends to fall down a bit when the game can't be won by flanking, but in this instance, it's working out very well for him.
Yeah, it's been working out very good so far. He's getting back into the territory war as well on his left-hand side, getting that fuel back, getting the fuel on the right-hand side as well. You know, he's planted some defensive mines there as well after he loses the foothold in those regions, and he's going to be forced off by the combined army of Symbiosis, double MG, double Vulcan, this bike for now. I see he's building his tier 3 in the base now, and so far Nogano has not taken apart from getting himself the bars, obviously, and a triage in his base, but he is floating a lot of fuel. He's got quite a bit of a manpower reserve, almost 350 manpower now, so he could go for really whatever he wanted to right now, and he's going to opt to get the supply yard, and let's see what he decides to do after that.
To be honest, if you have that much fuel, it's worth going for TD. If you have the feel for it, the general rule is get it. That's specifically TD, not everything.
He could. He could. After the supply yard is up, he'll still have around 150 fuel in the bank, because his income is pretty massive. Yeah, he just chose the infantry, went for the...
Oh my god! That was a huge mine. Not every day you see a regular engineer mine take out a whole squad.
Wow. Was that just the mine?
That was just a mine. One single mine on a very, very low health vault.
I really thought that, you know, maybe half the squad died from the off-map and half the squad died from the mine. Not the whole damn squad. That's pretty impressive for a Yeah, they must have been standing on the same spot, basically. That was impressive. So, Volk down, not looking too bright for Symbiosis right now. He's lost his sniper, lost one of his Volk squads. He does have his tier 3 building up with the Puma, so this might be the comeback right here. But commentator Nogano, he is speed building his motor pool in his own base. He's gotta get something out of that motor pool real quick to counter this Puma now, before he starts, creating too much of a manpower problem for him, losing rifles all over the place.
See, I don't like motor pool in this situation, because what's he really going to do? I mean, he can get an AT gun, and it'll be very sluggish, and he will only really be able to defend one side of the hedge at any one time, so he's still going to lose a lot of map. Or he can go for an M8, but then a Stug rolls out, or the Puma just gets an up gun, and then that's negated. To be honest, in this situation, I'd rather just sit in buildings, concede a little bit of, like, territory on the fringe, and then throw a Sherman at him, or an M10, which he can't readily counter without tier 2.
He's got some defensively placed mines in all of these small gaps on the map. One on the left, just left.
Yeah, I see that one. I think he's trying to lure the Puma into
it. He wants the Puma to go for these engineers now behind the hedge in the center, because he's hit the mine there twice, and he's replaced that with his own mine now. So one of Nogano's mines is there, and the Puma was real close to hitting it before. And obviously the one on the right-hand side that killed the entire Volt squad is gone. But yeah, he's gonna go there and try and stop him from grabbing the fuel back. And here comes the Puma, and the MG opens up, suppresses both the rifle and the engineer, forces an instant retreat from Nogano. But he's still doing very good, I gotta say, in the map control war. He's been keeping Symbiosis, fairly confined in his base. Some good flanking attacks in the beginning.
Use of sweeper action here from Symbiosis. Look at this, he's just found 50 munitions worth of mines.
Nasty. So M8 is out on the field. That's Nogano's choice. What do you think about that?
M8, well...
He's got a window now. He's got to kill this Puma real quick before a Stug hits.
Yeah.
That's what he got.
Actually, you know what? It's not a bad choice, because he can't afford a Stug right now. That's the problem with Symbiosis. He doesn't physically have enough fuel, which is not a regular situation. You'd expect by this point in the game that you'd have enough fuel to get a Stug, but he's only on 31, and the big problem is he's only got a +10 income. He doesn't have a single +10 of his own. He's just got 2 +5s. No, just the 1 +5, sorry.
Yeah, both the +10s, the one on the right and the left, has been in Nogano's possession for most of the game, at least.
And tier 2 now coming out. Krieg Barracks is the back tech.
Oh, so, back techs. Interesting. Pack, maybe, I guess?
Must be a pack or a Gren. I mean, he can almost afford a Shrek, which would be enough to keep the M8 at bay. Obviously, you need a pack if you really want to kill it, but...
I think this gotta be a bait from Symbiosis' side this time.
Yeah, I see that mine.
Now he's baiting the M8. It's a big game of who baits who. It's mind games deluxe right here. No one's just gonna go for it. Just like, no, I know, you got stuff. He's gonna go for the sniper.
Okay.
It's gotta be the sniper, yeah. Oh, there's a rifleman squad. MG setting up though. Yeah, and he can basically defend from here and reinforce from his quarters. Right there. Oh, come on, Symbiosis. You know what? I would have been happy if he had uncloaked his sniper just for a little while to run away here, just because of that mine being placed there, just for the mind game bait.
It'd be too obvious though, wouldn't it? It'd just be too obvious.
Yeah, it would.
Oh, look at that mine. There we go. But no losses, and actually that clears the way for the M8 now.
Same time, most of these mines has been planted in the forward course, so both Nogano's mines and Symbiosis' mines has been planted when the opponent hasn't been looking, so he doesn't know if there's more than that, just that one mine. When you hit one mine, generally, don't you start thinking, how many more did he plant when he was planting this first one?
Exactly, yeah.
I'm
you
not
get
sure
very
about
paranoid
this.
very quickly.
So Nebel and Pack, and he's getting the Campcraft Center as well. So it's going to be
He had a lot of manpower because he wasn't really spending any, because he didn't have any mainline infantry. It wasn't there was no real give and take. So he was floating about 700 manpower at the time that he couldn't afford a Stug. So that's why he went for back tech and the Nebel and Pack.
So M8 on the left here trying to kill this MG. It's very low health. He's going to lose it, and it might be stolen as well. There's a healthy 6-man rifleman squad just right nearby to pick it up. He's gonna go for it. Yeah, he's gonna go for the MG.
That's not good.
It's got
He's
stickies as well.
Picked a doctrine yet, but he could have just now chosen Terror, gotten prop war, and stopped that steal. But unfortunately, he's going to lose the MG42. Although, to be honest, it's not actually that big a deal because he doesn't have any man-9 infantry anyway. So he's got nothing to run into it. He's just got a sniper which can decrew it.
And with the Nebel now, he can just bombard.
Yeah, exactly. His army is specifically designed to counter things like MG42s. But all the same, you don't want to be losing it because you'd rather have it for yourself.
Well, there's still rifles to suppress, so I'm betting that Symbiosis
oh dear, the sniper is in trouble.
Here comes the M8, might be one shot
Whoa.
from that main gun.
Whoa.
That sniper is made of German steel. He lived. He got hit.
He remembered
seriously.
to take his body armor today, obviously.
Seriously.
He took a direct hit in the chest and survived. I mean, what does the Greyhound fire? A 37mm shell? I'm just measuring that with my fingers. That's 3.7 centimeters.
He took it in the
big
back as
fucking
well.
shell. Yeah, he took that in the back. You don't survive that thing. That's a spine breaker right there.
Oh, that was a nasty Nebel barrage. Gets 2 rifle kills, and it's basically hit straight on the rifleman squad. Almost every single. But we just had a loss of an infantry squad somewhere for Noggan. Oh, he lost one of his engineers. I think the sweepers went down. He actually added on a 3rd engineer to get that sweeper. So he had 2 flamers and 1 sweeper, and he's now down to 1 flamer. So he's lost 2 engineers now in just a span of like a few minutes.
That's unfortunate. We have a 2nd Puma out now, so interesting. He decided not to go for a Stug and play it safe. He's going for the Puma, which means his only AT remains the pack. So I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, he needs the anti-infantry, but he also needs the anti-vehicle. But I suppose, on balance, it's probably better to get a Puma because the M8 isn't doing that much to him right now.
You know, the M8 is obviously a deterrent to the Puma, and it can penetrate his armor with its main gun, but it just takes so long to actually outright kill it. He needs a combination of maybe like a sticky, and then follow up with the M8, and the Puma can't get away because of the damage engine and stuff like that. But obviously, you know, Symbiosis is keeping his pack close to his Puma, so if the M8 comes around like here, you know, it's gonna get hit by the pack, and then it's gonna be forced off, and then the Pumas can finish off the rifles, and he can just, you know, basically make a wall.
Okay, 1st Grenadier on the field now. 1st Grenadier on the field. And I'm sort of watching this campcraft center. It's been built redundantly. Nothing has been built out of it.
Veterancy or
now he's getting some veterancy. He's getting some Puma vet.
Yeah, Vet 1 makes it a bit more survivable.
Yep,
never a bad
gun hit.
Never a
Nobody
bad
ever complained
choice.
about that.
On map Howie, firing now. I'm guessing it's gonna be on the pack. No? Base on the Nebel. Well, either one. It's gonna be the Nebel or the pack, or the sniper, obviously, because everybody shoots at snipers.
Evidently.
He's doing some nice gardening. The hedge is getting beat up. He did get decrewed and the gun down to 60% health or so. But it needs another bullseye hit to actually destroy the gun, or it will just be recrewed. Because there's still one remaining Wolf Grenadier squad here on the right-hand side that was just forced to retreat due to a rifle squad. So he can just recrew that Nebel and starts firing it. But yeah, obviously now he knows that on-map Howie is there, so he's gonna have to shoot and scoot with that Nebel now.
Yeah, well, he's lucky that he didn't actually lose the gun. Gun's still quite healthy.
Yeah, thanks to that hedge, actually.
But I don't know, it feels like Symbiosis is just having a really tough time all game long here. He needs something to break it back. I mean, he's actually gone for Terror now, and he's unlocked prop wall with 2 CPs in the bank, so he's not a million miles away from getting that KT. And a KT in this situation is certainly the kind of thing that would be able to break forward and you know, do some good damage. He's also got that sniper, which is still unchallenged. There's still no WIC.
This 2nd sniper is clearly doing much better than the 1st one, which he's kind of squandered a bit. He just lost it.
Yeah, he just wandered into.
Whoops, that happened.
Oh dear, I think this is some counter battery coming in now.
Oh, he's moving it. He's moving it. He's trying to run away.
No, it's on the pack.
It's actually going to be on the pack. Yeah, the pack just hit the M8 and it's backed off to be repaired by a flamer squad. And so the pack was the main target there.
Nice bit of psychological warfare there, changing targets.
Yeah, I think the on-map was actually firing at the same time as the Nebel, basically. So I'm not sure if Nogano knew before.
I just thought he was being really quick. Just like, yes, there it is.
So here's the first 57. Obviously the M8 is not enough against the Pumas, especially not when there's two, and especially not when it's backed up by a pack that actually survived that onslaught from that on-map howitzer. So he needs something else, and he's got his tier 3 building, but he does have a lot of fuel. You know, the AT gun isn't cheap. Obviously it's going to be more expensive to actually tech getting the TD up and then getting a tank destroyer out. With the pack on the field, it's not going to be unchallenged, so...
Even so, I mean, he's got this sniper and a Nebel, so he's ready and prepared to deal with decrewing AT guns. And now his grenadiers are starting to hit the field. They throw their first grenade. There's absolutely nothing.
He threw one with the second squad on the MG, forced that off actually from the left-hand side. Yeah, he's got 2 grens, I think, but I'm not sure where the other one. They went back to base. And surprisingly, with fairly early bars and the rifles, and they've killed MG crewmen here and there, and they've killed Volks here and there, and Pios, etc. And now also been killing a few grens because there are no veterancy on the grenadiers, so totally possible to kill them with unvetted barred rifles. But he's not really rolling in any vet whatsoever. He just got his first squad on the left-hand side, vet 1, killing a sweeper pile, and then getting prop ward away.
I think it is precisely because of the lack of proper sort of infantry to kill. There's been very little tit for tat. It's been he flanks, and then there's Symbiosis knows that he's doomed, so he does a full retreat because when your MG is flanked, there's nothing you can do. Or it's the other way around, and he's just been losing manpower, to a sniper or MG. So
yeah.
But now that these grens are out on the field and they're unvetted, as you say, I think this is when he can start getting some nice veterancy in, especially because Symbiosis' field situation is so dire. He doesn't have a hope in hell of getting vet 2 on his grens anytime soon.
Yeah, he just got the left-hand side fuel, and he's basically instantly losing it against the rifle squad, decapping it. So I'm guessing his income right now is a little bit better than the usual plus 10 that he's had during this battle.
Yeah,
but
it's plus 21 right now.
It's gonna be rubbish again in just a few seconds.
Yeah, and he's actually using this little bit of extra fuel he just got there, that little fuel spike, to get himself vet 1 infantry.
He's got vet on the pack. Is that from the light vehicles? I thought that was...
That's from the Nebel.
Support.
It's from the...
So he got vet on his support as well, his MG's pack and...
Yeah, he did, yeah, and his sniper.
So you see the proper use of Nebels when you're facing counter barrages from on-map power. He's basically shooting skewed. Symbiosis fire in the barrage and instantly moved away. You can shift queue all of these orders, and you don't really have to micro that much. You just shift queue orders all over the place. Where's this MG? I see there's 2 guys and the MG. You seeing this on the right-hand side, Fuel? There's like 2 guys, the MG crewmen, the 2 guys with the MP40s.
Where are those 2 guys gone?
They're like way up on my speed.
Yeah.
He's close to the fuel, but the MG really is bizarre. Set at the... What are these 2 guys doing?
They are the ultra forward spotters. They're like super
spotting
scouts.
Power. Faust goes in.
This is like catwalking taken to crazy new levels.
Yeah.
Oh wow, look how low that M8 is. He can even chase it down with Pumas.
You can penetrate on the rear armor with just...
You can get on the frontal armor. The frontal armor. The damage isn't very much, but... Now this is a nice little break here. The M8's been forced away. We've got a bit of off-map, that's not going to do very much. But this AT gun has now been... No, Symbiosis, move. What are you doing?
That Puma took an almost direct hit. It didn't really do anything.
2 almost direct hits.
Very.
But yeah, he should be able to kill this AT gun pretty handily now.
He's using attack round or attack move on the AT. He's got a rifleman squad popping into the right next to him. Oh, he gets the destruction of it. So that's very, very good for Symbiosis actually. This could mean, especially with the M8 still being repaired and not being able to do that much damage, especially not against vet 1. This might be the time for Symbiosis to apply pressure, get the manpower damage in. So Nogano can't really win.
Boy, that MG42 is taking a real battering. But these rifles, I don't know, they're just on an endless charge. And whoa! Was that a whole gren? That was a whole gren.
I think it was
a Shrek gren.
4 guys.
With a Shrek. Down in 1. Gave him a lot of CPs though, he's only 1 CP away from a KT. And actually, look at the map now. It's almost even. It is going to be even once this point is capped.
Yeah, Noggan committed there with all of his rifles on his right-hand side, which means that this lone Pio from Symbiosis has just been capping away, you know,
Just
getting the munitions, the fuel, and now he's getting the 10 munitions outside of the US base as well. He is moving some troops over there to stop them, though. And it's not like he needs much to stop an unupgraded Pio.
Wow, look at these kills on these boomers here. 8 on one and 16 on the other. They're making a name for themselves.
Not bad at all.
Vet 2 infantry is now coming in, and there is a second Gren on the field, or rather a third Gren, to replace the one that died.
That one infantry giving him a little bit of...
Ooh, US sniper.
Oh, there it is. I was waiting for that, but I didn't really pay attention to his base, so I wasn't aware that he actually got the sniper. And he's gonna get himself grenades as well, so his rifles are gonna be fully kitted out.
Oh, this pack, I mean this M8, might go down here. Whoa! For the second time it escapes with just a sliver of health there. So Vet 2 infantry has come in, and with perfect timing, Noggan has his sniper ready and waiting, so that's actually rather unfortunate for Symbiosis. And
where's the German sniper? Did he die?
Sniper
is toast.
Dead.
He's toast.
Must have died to artillery or something.
Well, he did already the base a couple of times, and...
Whoa, speaking of base arty.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be base arty again. I guess he saw those Grens retreating after getting sniped in the center, so he just went for it.
Another big flank here by rifles. They're gonna find the pack.
Puma's still a problem though. He's got that 57, that's surely gonna help, but at the same time, it's very, very fragile. Nebel is still on the field.
There's the Axis sniper.
Oh,
it fired and revealed its position though, so the surprise counter snipe is probably off the cards.
But it's gonna mean that Noggan is gonna be more careful with the sniper, which means he's not gonna just openly chase the Grens with the sniper now.
Yeah, exactly.
So that means that he's most likely gonna be saving a few lives on his grenadiers. Second sniper out, actually. Ooh, where is the second sniper? Yeah, double US snipers now after seeing
snipers hurt. They hurt a lot. And he needs to retreat.
Symbi is just going after one thing, that AT gun, because those double Pumas, I think, still the main problem for Noggan.
Yeah, without a tank to really hunt them down, all you can do is sort of have an aura, an area where they cannot go with the AT gun. That's about all you can do.
Yeah. They can always just stay away from that AT gun, and you know they're very, very highly mobile, very nice to micro. I like that always.
Yeah, he's kept them very high health. This one's now got 17 kills. The other one, 9 kills.
Oh, Pyre goes down on the left-hand side to the M8, and a Flamer Engineer stopping those capping pioneers, those pesky pioneers.
And 5 CPs are in the bag. 5 CPs are in the bag. We are ready for the KT.
If the KT actually rolls out now, there's literally nothing on the field that can actually stop it. He can't make a train. He doesn't have TD. You know, he's got enough manpower to maybe get another AT gun. But
yeah, I would love to see a KT just like roll all the way to the US base. And just
could. It definitely could, I think.
Yeah, without, I mean, he's gone. I mean, how close is he to off-map combat group? That's what it's really going to come down to. More off-map artillery used here. This time it's on the Campcraft Center.
He did manage to knock out the Tier 3 building, actually. Sturm Armory is gone. He
so
might be able to get this, wow, double miss on the 3 last shells.
I don't know, it wasn't really on the Campcraft Center, it was just behind it where there was some infantry there. So.
Big concentration of Grens and Volks.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it looks like Symbiosis once again finds himself back against the wall, just down to a couple of sectors here. Fortunately, they're all munition sectors, so he's in no shortage for fun abilities to use. He can keep on prop warring the enemy away from him, but even so now he's got these double snipers to watch out for.
Yeah, off-map combat group is unlocked, but he basically spent most of his manpower that he had just before he got the CPs required to unlock it on the second AT. Gonna have 2 57s now. and he could be rolling OMCGs very, very soon. He's got both of his supply yard upgrades, so his manpower income is very good, actually.
It seems like actually a good opportunity just to mention something about Elite Mod. You see the way that Noggan is using his snipers. They're both together, and he's basically just attack moving them around the map in those sort of in pairs, which is fine. And sometimes, you know, the situation calls for having multiple snipers. But in Elite Mod, I decided that it would be nice if you were rewarded for having the extra micro required to micro your 2 snipers individually, having them away from each other, maybe on other sides of the map, maybe on the same side of the map, but just a little bit apart from each other, instead of just being in one attack move blob. So the way that's actually rewarded, or the way you're punished for blobbing, is snipers now give off a zeal effect, but instead of being a positive zeal, it's a negative zeal that increases your received accuracy. So there's that 50% chance, there's that coin flip chance that you could miss a single moving sniper. But with this modifier, 2 snipers next to each other will always get hit, even while moving, if they're uncloaked.
Did you see the Puma?
Well, they got gun destroyed.
Yeah, luckiest Puma alive, honestly. It was like turning around in the craters, getting stuck on everything. Oh, look at the snipers! Snipers! Oh, no! So much for the Axis sniper. It was basically rolling around in the craters, trying to get to the road to get the road bonus, hiding behind the hedge and everything. And like the AT guns, the 57s just kept missing over and over again. And he finally gets the last killing shot in. And he doesn't roll the kill crit, and basically just gives him a main gun destroyed.
Oh, lame.
So lucky.
Unbelievable crit from a Gren, takes out a US sniper.
Wow, that's a headshot.
Yeah, it was a hell of a headshot.
Oh, KT on the field from Symbiosis as well. Here we go. This might be the push right now from Symbiosis to make or break this game. He needs to get rid of these AT guns, and then his KT is basically unchallenged. And that's gonna leave Noggan with basically getting more 57s, which probably won't work. Or, you know, rolling the dice for OMCG to try and get rid of these KT. I'm not sure which one would be the best, or basically like a choice of 2 bad things now for Noggan, because he's being forced off all the plays. Yeah, the second Puma is fully repaired and back onto the field, and with these double Pumas he can easily handle these 2 AT guns. Unless he parks right in front of it, which is a bad idea.
Sends in the other Puma. He can afford to prop war again if he wants to.
He's trying. Yeah, he should probably prop war. He does. Yeah, good choice, I think.
So now he's got these AT guns which he can just freely destroy.
Yeah, this right here, this is a problem. What's he gonna do with this pesky little M8? It's not gonna be enough to deal with anything.
M8 feels just a tad outgunned.
A bit.
It's about a third of the size of the KT.
Yeah, no, this is a problem. What do we do in this situation, tell me?
OMCG. OMCG. Of
Could
course,
in
an ideal situation, you don't let yourself get fucked like this. You have previously built a TD and you applied enough pressure beforehand that the KT is just without support. But of course, if you do the stupid thing and you get a motor pull when you're in a dominating position, then you go for OMCG.
Sweeper engineer on the left-hand side being picked apart piece by piece by these 2 Pumas. They're still alive, just rolling around, killing stuff. 16 and 23 infantry kills. They've definitely paid for themselves. So you reckon basically the only thing to do now is OMCG? Noggan disagrees and gets more 57?
Well, yeah, I think
snipers.
OMCG is better because, you know, he might... Even M10s would be quite good in this situation because he's facing 1 pack for proper AT, and then the KT, which he knows where it is at all times, and can just be avoided. Like an M10 right now would be great for helping him deal with these very, very annoying Pumas.
Yeah, the Pumas.
Because they're really doing a lot of lead work. I mean, look at that, 25 kills on one, 17 kills on the other. You know, they can kill AT guns in an absolute heartbeat, way faster than a KT can. So I don't think that mass-producing 57s at this point is the best way to go. Oh, and that's something else that you just saw there that's been fixed in Elite Mod. Pumas no longer do friendly fire damage to each other.
That was a silly bug anyway.
It was always a bit silly, yeah. When you had two of them like next to each other and they started shooting each other, it was always a bit of a facepalm moment.
I gotta say,
no
personally, the best fix you've done so far is the M10 misfire bug. I've missed M10s so much. To cast games with M10s, they're so awesome. They look really cool, and you know, they remind me of the good old days of VCO pre-OF when I used to play a lot of Company of Heroes every single day I played. I just battle on the ladder. I think I got top 20 eventually with both US and Burma before I think they reset it for OF or something like that.
Yeah, they did.
I lost my mojo after that with OF, like Brits and MP just stomping me.
When Brits invaded the game, yeah. I don't blame you.
But M10s are so cool, and that's actually fixed in Elite Mode.
It is fixed. I can't take the credit for it. I just put the fix in. I didn't
just put the thing in there.
Yeah, I just put the thing in there. I put somebody else's work in there. It was a combination of corny and oh my god, that was a huge artillery strike. And Symbiosis is just going to stand there, not retreat. There we go. No, it was Corny and Eli Wood, names that will mean nothing to you outside of the modding community, but if you're in the modding community, then they will probably mean at least something to you. So yeah, they're the ones that made that fix possible.
It's really cool. I hope to see a lot of M10s in the upcoming Elite Mod tournament.
Oh, I'm
sure
we
to see
will.
only M10s.
Because now that we've got M10s back, it's like, I'm not using fucking Hellcat. Why did I even
Why
use
would I
this thing?
get on Hellcat? Yeah, the M10 is just so much better at crushing and everything.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the Hellcat, it's still nice and reliable, and you know, it can cloak. Obviously, that's its big gimmick, is that it can cloak. But the M10 is just better, and it can squish as well. So if you're good at squishing, then the M10 is absolutely the best investment.
The M10 squish is like absolutely amazing.
The M10 squish is like a whole other weapon in and of itself. It's like having like a KT gun attached to the side of it. That's the kind of impact it has on games. Like, you can kill snipers, whole Gren squads in just the blink of an eye.
Yeah, just in one go, the M10 basically like pivots on top of a squad.
Like when people see an M10 coming towards a squad, they retreat. If they know what's good for them, they retreat. Because they know that if they don't, they're going to lose it. If the M10's coming in at any kind of speed and the player is decent at squishing, then you can just make one of those disgustingly fast turns and just go, wee, pinwheel.
Yeah. Just spins on the spot, basically.
Yeah. Disco moves.
Very cool. So another 57 joins the fray here for Noggan. Just keeps producing these, and the Nebel is trying to deal with them, but it's getting lucky with the basically scatter from the Nebels not hitting the 57s. The snipers are keeping the Grens at bay. These rifles are finally actually rolling in some vet now. 2 squads at vet.
Look at those cheeky stickies through the hedge. 2 of them.
Oh, nasty.
Damaged engine. And the M8 finally went down. Finally went down to a very sneaky pack.
Well, it was overdue dying, wasn't it? So
it was a bit. Oh my god.
Wow.
Oh no,
oh, he was sitting on his own mine! He was sitting on his own mine!
No!
Yeah, that's what happened.
Oh no, I was about to say that. That's incredible luck to get the destroy engine off that.
Yeah. That's the mine, and there goes the Puma as well. Everything is falling apart all of a sudden for Symbiosis. He's been fighting an uphill battle, somewhat at least, for most of the game. You know, the Puma's been very good dealing the manpower damage to Nogano. Nogano didn't really have any proper mainline infantry and better to, you know, farm veterancy for his barred rifles. So they've been a major nuisance for Symbiosis, but they haven't really dealt him, you know, fatal blows in the game because there's not really been that much stuff to kill. But, you know, this was like the break now. There it goes.
Dear.
That was
that
fast.
KT gunner did a 9 out of 10. But that was all she wrote for the KT. And I mean, Symbiosis' army, it's not tiny, but it's not very big either.
He lost a Puma in that attack
Gren
too.
And the 1 Volk, and the 1 Puma.
Yeah.
And it was
Double
the good Puma
Pumas.
as well. It was the Puma that had the most kills.
It's the good crew. They died.
Yeah. And these double snipers are still very much alive and very much kicking. There's another new Axis sniper on the field.
What do you reckon his chances are against double US snipers? He could get the kill, but he's most likely to get killed himself as well.
But this is precisely what I was trying to fix in Elite Mode, because this kind of situation, it's a bit like, we've seen it a million, billion, zillion times, and also it's a bit lame because, you know, what do you do if you're Symbiosis in this situation? You get one sniper, you take the shot, even if you kill one, you get instantly counter-sniped back. Yeah. So, and of course there's a chance that you might miss, and you might not kill either of them. So, what's happened is now, is you could, well, due to that negative zeal I talked about earlier, you could go in right now with a bike, say, and when they're both next to each other like that, you would get an insane accuracy buff. Like, you light one of those guys up, and they will be pink mist in seconds. I think the accuracy buff is 10 times, so it's not to be fucked with.
Oh, double grenades here. Sniper goes down. Symbiosis throwing the towel. It's gonna be over. GG is thrown from Symbiosis, losing that KT after that. It was basically an instant jump into a very, very deep hole.
Yep, he's just
suicide jump.
100 VPs as well, and there we go. It's the end of the game for Symbiosis. But, you know, I mean, he put up a good fight, but it felt like almost within the first couple of minutes, he just never really got back into the momentum of things.
No, he had an uphill battle the entire match, I agree. He did a little bit of a, you know, nice comeback, especially with the double Pumas. They really paid off.
He had that push, but you know what really did it for him? He didn't kill those AT guns. He decrewed both of those AT guns. There was no other AT on the field, but he failed to destroy them.
Yeah, I think he killed the one, and then he had to move away from the sticky danger of the rifles.
I would have just eaten a sticky. Honestly, I would have lost a Puma.
Just take the sticky and
sticky in the face. And you know, when you see like players like backing away from rifles chasing their KT with a sticky, it's like, well, whenever I'm there, it's like, I'm fine, sticky me. I don't give a shit. This is the slowest tank in the game anyway.
It's not gonna matter anyway. It
doesn't really make a whole lot of difference.
It's a damage sponge, really.
Yeah, exactly. Let him sticky you, unless he's got something nearby which is gonna then hurt you on top of that. Absolutely, sticky me away.
Sticky.
But no, it was a well played game by both players. I think the sort of the general rustiness that we noticed in our last few Vico casts still just sort of there, sifting below the surface, because there just aren't quite as many quality players playing the game anymore. Unfortunately, I'm hoping to get a few of these players back into it with the Elite Mode tournament. Hopefully, get a few of them signing up, a few big names, get them practicing,
that's
get
the goal.
Few shots fired.
Yeah,
well,
that's the goal.
This was one of our little warm-up casts to get ourselves back into the swing of things. As I said, Elite Mode Tournament is going to be the 1st and 2nd of February. Sign-ups are open. There'll be a link in the description, so do go and check that out. Otherwise, we will catch you guys next time.
See you guys.